gonna kill you. Not today, not tomorrow, but I'm gonna kill you.
This is KCFE Ferguson, 89.5 The Wave.
Everything's his, or will be.
And this is Dead Air.
Welcome to a brand new beginning.
You need to go get ready
For what?
to fight them.
What's up, everybody? You are listening to Dead Air here on 89.5 The Wave. I'm your host, your friendly neighborhood DJ, JazzHandss, and we are going to be talking about last Sunday's amazing, like, truly one of my favorite episodes of The Walking Dead, like, almost ever. I still think Ezekiel's stuff, like, totally knocks it out of the park, but man, what a fun episode, especially for Eugene. Now, the episode's title is Hostiles and Calamities, I'm sorry, and, joining me today to talk about it is, of course, Anna, May, and
Hi.
Boss Man Paul.
Hey!
And like I said, spoilers are abound, so be ready for that because we have a lot to go over. And it was one of those episodes where, for me, I was thoroughly entertained a lot more than I was last week's episode, I feel. There was a lot more fun character development going on, I think.
Definitely character development.
Yeah. This really, as Josh McDermott said on Talking Dead, this was kind of the Eugene's backstory episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
That he wasn't sure we were ever going to get.
Yeah.
Seeing everything that happened with Eugene while Daryl was breaking out and they were coming back with Eugene and the whole 9 yards and everything as it was happening, it was really, really interesting to watch how Eugene interacted as a savior, because you're not used to seeing Eugene do some of the things that he did. It was really, really nice to see that character actually develop in that way.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where I kind of noticed too, like, and we're going to definitely dive more into it, but it's fun to see how kind of brutal you are when you leave the idea of humanity out of things. Like how he said, you know, with the walkers chaining them to the fence or chaining them to the wall by using the molten metal and having their head. It's like when you take that morality out of certain stuff, you can do a lot more creative stuff that is diabolical, and Eugene went there.
As soon as Eugene bought into the us and them mentality, you saw the change in Eugene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was cool to actually kind of see the hierarchy of Negan's entire
Pyramid scheme.
Yeah, the hierarchy of the saviors, because you got the lower workers that are just numbers, then you got, you know, the Negans, and then you got the leaders that actually run outposts.
Yeah.
And, you know, all report back to Negan. And it's like, it's just this really cool hierarchy that, like, I want to get even more into, and I want to see a lot more of the inner workings and how stuff goes.
Agreed. It was interesting to actually get, and you almost felt sorry for the workers who were just kind of there, but then you had the Negans who were just like, yeah, I'm running this stuff, and if you don't listen to me, yeah, something's bad's going to happen to you.
Yeah, so guys, I need to know, do you think we really lost Eugene? Or do you think this is a ploy? Because you could take it both ways.
I think Eugene is... One thing I've learned about Eugene is he is going to survive. He's a survivor. He does what he absolutely has to do in order to survive. And I think he's figured out that in order to survive being captured by the saviors, he has to become a savior. I don't think we've truly lost him, but I think he's going to play up the part, because one thing that was pointed out in this episode, and I'm not sure if either of you two caught it, was one of the wives said, "You're a coward, Eugene," and he said, "Guilty as charged."
Yep.
Yeah.
And Eugene has not been a coward for a long time.
Very true.
He really stepped it up when he had to save Tara, when he saved everybody but Noah.
Yeah.
He has not been that cowardly guy. And me personally, I don't think we've lost him. I think he's playing a role, but I don't think he's as cowardly as he's letting on. And I think when the time comes, he's going to switch it.
I agree. I gotta say, he's doing a mini version of the Carol chameleon, but he basically saw that, okay, unless I step up my game and play the part, they're going to walk all over me.
yeah, I mean, a lot of character development from Eugene, and it was just, like, I don't know, really cool to see. And because I've said this before, and you know that, where I'm like, man, I kind of wish we would, and I hate to say it, like, lose one of ours to Negan for a little bit. Like, fully be like, Rick, you've messed up. You haven't done this.
I offered them paradise, and what can you offer them?
Yeah, exactly. And so it's going to be kind of interesting to see, Mac Daddy Eugene.
I want Eugene in a fur coat and a hat. That's
No.
all I want. I want to see that.
I mean, him at the end, with the grunkly gook just hanging out the pocket, and him eating the pickles and just like overseeing, and he's like, "Yep, we're Negan. We're Negan." It was like, I don't know. It was just really cool, and I like this idea of Eugene. And one of the things, it's like, I wouldn't say he's been a background character. Eugene's always been there, but I'm really glad that we're getting more of him in the forefront now.
Agreed.
It's going to be interesting to see how Negan uses Eugene as opposed to how he was being utilized. Eugene definitely has knowledge. Is he really part of the Human Genome Project? No.
And that was nice that we saw the gears turning and him like, I need to slip back into it. Boom. Okay, here we go. Full.
And especially when the one wife said, "Oh, I could talk about the Human Genome Project all day." He's like, "I was read in on certain parts that were completely restricted, and you probably would be way over your head." Classified.
I do want to talk about that. Do you think they went in there to test him? Do you think Negan told him, "Hey, see if he's as smart as he actually is"?
I almost kind of suspect that. Mm-hmm. Part of me wondered if the whole make the suicide pill for Amber was a test.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That he passed, but it was a test for Negan.
Yeah, because Negan showed up right after everything, went down, and he said, "Oh yeah, my wives,
I talk so good about you."
Yeah, nothing but nice things to say. I think that there's a lot of inner workings that we haven't figured out yet, and so that's where it's like Eugene needs to be careful.
Yeah.
If he is totally going to go on the ploy.
Well, I mean, Eugene's progress from I'm a scientist with Abraham to this moment, it's like you would think they were two different people. Except when he slips back into the I got a PhD and I'm real smart, I can do all this, and it's like, has he slipped back? No.
I was going to say, do you think that was completely an act, or do you think he was really
terrified?
To use Negan's phrase, almost headed to Pee-Pee Pants City.
I think he was definitely freaked out because no matter what, you're in this situation where you're being captured and you're being taken, and you don't know what's behind door number 1, what's behind door number 2. You don't know what's
behind the bat.
I mean, we even saw with Dwight. Like once when Dwight, once when they found out Daryl was missing, Negan sicked his men on Dwight, and and Dwight's supposed to be like up there with Simon almost.
Yeah, Dwight, because he even said something about Dwighty boy, you're going to get your own outpost one of these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that was after he kicked the crap out of him.
Yep.
Well,
yeah,
his men did.
Yeah, exactly. But it was still like, so you never know. And for all Eugene knew, he could have gotten, because granted he didn't see the beating, but scheduled around the clock. Like Easy Street, boom. You get the... Okay, look, me and Eugene, I know this is why I love Eugene.
You guys are the only ones.
We're only ones that will rock out to Easy Street.
Nobody else likes that song.
Absolutely love that song. It's...
detest that song.
So, Anna, I want to know, do you think Eugene's newfound confidence is going to kind of come back to bite him in the butt?
I can see that happening, but if you had asked me that when we first met him, I'd say, oh, definitely he's going to get his just desserts and bad things are going to happen. But with this, I mean, unless Dwight starts, trying to charge over him and, Eugene's like, well, I'm the new engineer and I can do this. And it's like, I actually don't think so.
I have a question for the two of you.
What's up?
Oh, let's go.
Do you think that type of hierarchy would work or should work in Rick and the others' groups once they get this all sorted out?
For Rick and the group, for what they're trying to do, no. Because...
Not just Rick's group, but Rick's group, Hilltop, Kingdom, Oceanside, the Junkyard.
Like I said, no, I don't think that kind of hierarchy would work, because then you get the very much them versus us, and you get a lot of the internal conflict, and I think that's what we're going to see in the Saviors, this internal conflict. And you don't want Maggie and the inner circle of leaders.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can have the inner circle of leaders
Having
but,
to deal with...
Yeah, you need leaders like King Ezekiel who will lead his men into battle right alongside him, who will sit down and read to the kids. You need that because that's how humanity in this world is going to survive. When you get into the hierarchy, it becomes them versus us, and that's where you get internal conflict, and that's where eventually, even if Rick and the crew didn't show up, eventually the Saviors would have started falling apart from the inside out.
Okay.
I agree with that. With Rick's group, we see that they're all equal. I mean, Rick is obviously the leader, but, it's not just, Michonne, Maggie, even Aaron, being at the top and then having the lower Alexandrians who we don't know names of, but that doesn't, we know most of their names because most of them are dead.
Actually, they've said a lot of the names.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Tobin, some of the other ones, they've actually given names to these people.
That's true. So, no, again, with any of those groups, aside from the Saviors, I don't think it would work because, again, it would fall apart. You just take out one little brick in the pyramid and there it goes. Bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I wanted to pose that because I'm not sure how this alliance is going to work after Negan.
Like I said, it's definitely going to come into play when one group offers, hey, even though you can work up to this situation, it's still, you're lower than dirt, you're eating dog food, we're eating good. I think once when Rick and his group offer equality, that it doesn't matter who you are, what you are as important as Rick, as Maggie, as this,
well, see,
as that.
That's kind of where I was going with it, but with the Scavengers. I mean, they have made their own place. They don't have it as good as any of the other. Even Oceanside had it better than they do. So is this going to be, hey, why don't we keep you as kind of an outpost, but we're going to welcome you into our groups. I want your group to mingle in with our group.
And that's where I think it's going to come into play a lot later on if they ever get, and I'm sure that, they will, but when they get the Negan situation under control and resolved, I strongly think that we're going to get the traveling, from point A to point B. We're going to get the trading. We're going to get, okay, how's this outpost doing? Wait, they've been dealing with a bunch of walkers. Let's send some men over that way. I
want to see how Jadis is going to react to, okay, we've done this, now we want in.
Jadis was definitely an interesting character, and I am excited to see, because even she said, they need change, but I'm definitely excited to see these, and let's be real, they seem like very anti kind of social people, dealing with not just Rick's group, Alexandria, Hilltop, the Kingdom. Unfortunately, Paul had to step out a little bit. He had to go take care of something, so it's just going to be the two of us now talking about, like I said, last Sunday's Walking Dead. So we're going to dive back into it. We talked a little bit about Eugene and his whole character development throughout this episode, and if he's faking it or what the wives were up to. Like, his whole story arc was very refreshing for this character. A character that I love very, very much. He's one of my favorite characters. I mean, I wouldn't say he's like, because Tara's my spirit animal. I love Tara's my number one. If she dies, I riot.
Oh, goodness.
But Eugene's definitely a good. He's one of my favorites, and so to see him kind of go through this character development, and if he's bad, if he's not, the question's still up in the air. But we're gonna talk about kind of that last scene, and I want to talk about Eugene and Dwight's reaction to the Doctor death, because that both of them seem to have gotten a lot out of that death. But we need to talk about Dwight, because Dwight had a lot of character, not as much as Eugene, I feel, but he still had a lot of character development to where we got to see both Dwight's sweet side as well as his very, very dark side. Mm-hmm. And so it's literally like Two-Face from Batman. You flip a coin, he's either a nice guy or you want him dead.
Yep.
You know, he's very, very interesting. And it was cool that we got to see, you know, who finally let
Daryl out of his crazy cell.
Yeah, who let Daryl out. So I like that because we talked about it a little bit off air, but I thought it was Dwight himself that was going to let Daryl out.
Yeah, I think it was I and Bossman who thought it was Dwight's sweetie, which I can't remember her name right now, but that was kind of a theory. Like, why would Dwight let him out? Oh yeah, but it did kind of have to go with that. Is she let Daryl go because he reminded Dwight of how he used to be before Negan brainwashed him?
Yeah, and that was actually what I was going to ask. Do you think Daryl actually really did get to Dwight more so than Dwight would like to let on? And was Dwight, you know, because I think Negan said it himself, you know, was Dixon the one that, you know,
was controlling you, or were you controlling
him? Did Daryl break you instead of you breaking Daryl, you know? So do you think that's a possibility?
I think it was, because we got to see later on when he's looking for his sweetie, he goes to the house and we find her letter, which was so heartbreaking, by the way.
Yeah.
And it reminded him of, you know, what he used to have. We saw the picture of the two of them together, and, you know, it's like, oh, he probably won't bring pretzels or beer if we ever meet here, but he did, and it kind of surprised me.
Yeah, I was actually, it was, like I said, it was one of those sweeter moments for Dwight where we got to see, you know, his sensitive side and like the him who he really was before he put on this persona, and that's what I think the whole kind of overall theme of the episode is. It's learning how to adapt to Negan's men and becoming something that you truly aren't. I think deep down Dwight's definitely a good guy for the most part.
Did what he did to survive, and he did it to try and protect his sweetie, which she married Negan in return to protect him, so it's like kind of a vicious cycle. Yeah.
Now, I want to definitely talk about the famous doctor killing scene.
Ah, yes, Dr. Carson.
Because both of that had a huge impact on both, I feel, Eugene and Dwight.
And I agree.
Why do you think Dwight let the doctor die, and why do you think that he even set the doctor up like that? Like, was it selfish thing to cover up all of his tracks?
I think it might be closer to that one, because of all the things Dr. Carson was saying, it's like, oh, well, she's soft-hearted, she's this, she's that. Dwight's like, okay, that's it, you're going to get an iron to the face. I don't think he was expecting Negan to just toss him into the fire like a steak.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, Negan got a little hot-headed, but...
just a wee bit.
Because it's just so weird, and Dwight's always been one of those characters that I absolutely love because I don't understand him yet. One minute I think I get him and that he's a genuinely nice person. The next minute he's setting up the doctor to allow him to die. And I think it is that kind of like what you said, where he was saying, you know, oh yeah, she was super nice. She was
too weak for this world. She needed to go. It's like,
yeah,
okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think it was like, okay, well, you're insulting me. I think it was that like the doctor could theoretically be the one person to unravel all this persona that Dwight has pulled up.
That's true.
And he seemed super cold-faced when the doctor was dying. I know you were talking about like his face, like how Dwight looked like he didn't mean for that to happen. For me, I just saw he just like didn't care. He was numb to it.
I saw it in his eyes, because his eyes seemed to kind of reflect like, okay, I'm doing the iron. Wait, what are you doing, Negan? No, he's a doctor. What are you... Well, great. My plan of just getting his face fried just turned into us losing a doctor. Great.
Mm-hmm. I want to know what you think the doctor death meant for...
Eugene?
Yeah.
With that, I have to say that he sees with Negan that, okay, I have to make sure I watch my back. I got to watch my guard. I need him to see that I am useful. I'm not expendable. And then at the end, you know, he says to Dwight, it's like, oh, well... Or it's like, oh, well, doctor's expendable. I'm not, because I can make bullets. So it's like, that was more of his persona being out. It's like, okay, I've got to be a little more careful around here. Otherwise, that's going to be my face in the fire next time.
Yeah. I think it's... Mm-hmm. I think it was one of those things where even though he knows he's not expendable, he definitely still needs to watch himself, because one wrong thing and Negan will, you know...
Get rid of him.
Yeah, we'll get rid of him. So it's he still has to play fairly close to the chest.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited to see where these two characters go, and I honest to God think they're going to be
the
two.
inside men.
Yeah, they're going to be the two that will, and I said it earlier, take Negan out. I mean, I guess we're honestly at that time. What do you think about predictions for next time?
Oh, well, we're going to see a little Rishon, which I always like. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that,
Rishon for the win.
I'm not saying that, like, I'm not excited to see these two characters together, because I definitely think they make a really good couple. But when we were watching it, when they showed the clip from Next Time, and I was joking with my friend, I'm like, oh, they're on a honeymoon, and then they clearly are on a honeymoon, and I was like, oh, come on, like.
Well, you gotta get a little something to talk
we got so much going on. We got civilizations that we have to get together. They stole Eugene. Don't
just take a break from the big story.
Yeah, don't take a break from the big story to show us this little, love affair of them going on a mission and almost get, because we know that those two aren't going to die anytime soon.
No, absolutely not.
If Michonne did all of a sudden get bit on this trip, that would be very interesting. But I don't see that happening at all. So it's just kind of like, get back to Eugene, get back to the kingdom. Let's look at all these cool new characters that are coming in and all these cool ideas and civilizations.
Seeing different sides of characters, we didn't think were there or that they were just kind of playing up.
Yeah, don't do a melancholy episode where Rick and Michonne go on a honeymoon.
Do coitus and then Michonne gets bit. That's not my prediction.
Yeah.
But obviously it's going to be a Michonne-centered episode, and it might be good. They might be going to look out for Eugene, like Josh McDermott said, but get a little caught up in like a cabin or something along the way, and then coitus.
Yeah. I think something like that's going to happen. I think we're, like I said, I'm not saying that this next episode is going to be bad. I just feel from the stuff that we've gotten, it's going to be a very, like you said, Rick and Michonne based episode. It's going to be, I don't want to say a snail crawl, but it's going to be a lot slower. And it's just going to be them probably looking for weapons. I don't think we're going to get any new civilizations. If we do, awesome. Or if we connect to a civilization, even more awesome. But I don't think we're going to get anything major. I think it's going to be, I don't want to say like a filler episode, but I think it's just going to be hey, we needed one more episode. Let's just throw this in real quick. I could be wrong, and I'm hoping for the best, though.
We'll just have to see what the writers come up with.
Yep, I agree. But either way, thanks, everybody, so much for tuning in. I had a blast. We'll see y'all next week.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.